What's going on, guys? So in today's video I wanted to show you a process that I'm using for creating getting a traditional look in Photoshop. So I'll be creating a portrait of an old man that has a big beard, maybe in a kind of a classical painting style. Now you'll see that the whole process of this painting was around, I think, 3 to 4 hours, so it's sped up a bit. So this isn't exactly a tutorial, but I'll just try to do my best to tell you what I'm doing while I'm painting this. So first comes the block-in. I'm just using basically really almost black. It's not exactly black, but more like dark gray and some white to block in the basic shapes. You'll see that throughout the whole process of this painting I'm just using one brush. I think that I got this brush from I think it was from Greg Rutkowski on ArtStation, and I'll be using this only this brush to complete the whole painting. As you can see is that first I'm just blocking in the big shapes, blocking in the background to maybe get like a good feel of the values for the complete painting. It's really rough, and I'm not worrying about the details in this stage, just blocking it in and trying to get like a composition and getting all the bigger forms and the light in place, the lights and shadows. And here I'm just trying some different colors. Basically I've changed the background, like the block-in, to look more like it would on a traditional canvas, like if you had a big canvas covered with burnt sienna and then you created an underpainting before you start blocking in, working on the colors and everything. So this process is basically the same as I would be using if I was doing a portrait in oils. For this painting I'm not using any kind of advanced Photoshop techniques, like I'm just using the brush with simple opacity on it. I'm not using any kind of color burns or any kind of like blending brushes or any kind of basically any kind of advanced Photoshop stuff. Here I'm just getting in some colors into the background. You will see that all of these colors are really muted, but I'm trying to get in some different tones, maybe a little bit of blue, a little bit of maybe really low saturated greens and stuff like that, so it really starts looking more traditional. Now I'm starting to work on the colors a bit. So this is exactly the same as if you would be painting for real if you would be painting with classical oil paints on a canvas. And here I'm just blocking in the basic colors, like through on the face, and later I'll go also on the hair and on the beard. The point here is not to get all the details in at first, but maybe just to get some overall feel of what the colors in the painting will look like. Now I've adjusted the underpainting again so that it's more like looks more like burnt sienna as it would on a traditional canvas. So yeah, here I'm just blocking in some more colors, maybe trying to define the shapes a bit more, and yeah, maybe getting those shadows in, defining them a bit more, so you can see that the form of the face is starting to look a bit more defined. Now I'm actually working, getting some of those like bluish grays, really low saturated bluish grays back on the hair and on the beard, to basically block in this low-level color scheme, if you want to call it like that. Yeah, and also trying to get the values of the values of the hair and the beard in there. Now it really looks messy at this stage, but it should come together a bit more once I define all the low-level stuff, and then start working on the details and maybe defining those a bit more. Also keep in mind that this painting is like this is even in real time. I'm working really fast, so the goal here is not to create an ultra detailed painting, but it's more like a preliminary sketch, maybe for a painting that would, if I really wanted to go into all of the details for this, a painting like this would take probably a couple of days to create if I was doing it in traditional paints. So now I'm already also starting to work a bit more on the face, getting all the values in and all of that stuff. Because once you have the values, like the values aren't exactly right at this stage. I'll be refining that, because every painting is like a constant refinement process. But the complete painting has values that are good enough for me to start defining the details and those smaller forms a bit more. So here I'm adding some red in the shadows of the nose, and trying to define that's not highlight, but that plane of the nose, and defining some shadows over here. I wanted to create a longer tutorial, but I thought that it would be a bit boring to watch this for 4 hours, and I don't think a lot of people want to do that. But if you guys want to see the real-time version of this, please let me know, and I'll be happy to upload it to YouTube if anybody's interested in it. Now I'm commenting on this painting afterwards, because I'm really bad at working and commenting on something in real time, so I hope this doesn't sound like too weird to you guys. Also, if you would like to see this like this kind of a process without me rambling on, let me know, and I'll upload it without the commentary. So let me know what kind of like process videos or something like that is interests you guys the most, and I'll do my best to maybe try to do something in that style, because I'm just starting with this channel and getting to learn how the whole YouTube thing works and stuff like that. So now I'm starting to work on the eye sockets, like not the eye sockets but the eyes. Like for me, eyes are one of the hardest things to paint in any painting, because painting eyes really, because we as humans are so used to looking at eyes that you really have to get them correctly. And you will see that the left, if you look at from the guy's perspective, from this man's perspective, his right eye, I didn't really get it completely right. So at the end of the painting, at the end of the video, I make a bit more corrections to that eye, so it looks a bit more realistic. Now I'm just blocking in the eyelids and the shapes and the tones of the eyes. With this process, you have to be really careful with the values. You really don't want to overstate something, maybe create You don't want to create the whites in the eyes too light, because it just starts to look really strange and really creepy, and it's not that realistic. So it's a really, like, you have to be really careful with the values in this kind of painting. So now I'm just starting to define the grooves on his forehead a bit. Yeah. Okay, so the video stopped a bit here, but I think it will continue shortly. Okay. So now I'm working on those little grooves on the forehead. I don't know if you can see it, because I'm working really zoomed out. Sometimes it works better for me if I zoom out when first working on details, because I can see the overall picture much better than if I was working really zoomed in, and it's really easy to mess up values if you worked too zoomed in a painting. I think that I had a slight Photoshop glitch over here. Okay, it's resuming again. So I think that I'm just looking at what to do at this stage, because sometimes in the middle of a painting you really have to take a pause and take a look at how to continue on. I think that I was trying to figure out, I was looking at the painting and trying to figure out what to do next at this stage. So now I'm defining, I found out that I have to define some darks in the shadows a bit more. So I started working on that. Here I'm trying to find out some correct values. So I'm basically messed up a bit of orange over there. Now I'm trying to define some more warms in the lights of the beard. It's also not working exactly, so you really have to take your time to find the right tone of the color and the right value. Right now I'm actually working on the beard. I don't know if you can see it because the brush strokes are really light and really light. You have to be careful not to overstate or something, because always when painting in this classical style you have to be really careful to keep the complete picture in mind at all times. So when I'm working on these lights of the beard, I have to be really careful to make them soft enough so they don't, the details don't compete too much with the face, because I want to keep the face the main focal point of this painting. So here I've defined everything a bit more, but as I've said in the beginning, I don't. The goal of this painting is not to like paint every hair and every eyebrow and every little strand of the beard, because that would take, like, I don't know, you could spend hours and hours and days working on the painting and details like this. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I just wanted to show you the basic principles of how you start working on a painting like this, how to use the brush strokes. Like, I'm not like a master of it, but I just wanted to share my process, so maybe I can get some feedback from any of you guys that are actually watching this. I've also, you can see that on the beard, I've added some blue in the shadow of the beard to make this really contrast between warms and lights in the painting, to maybe make it look a bit more interesting. And yeah, I hope I didn't overstate that blue in here, because as I've said, I don't want to work with color burn and color dodge and all those advanced tools, because I wanted to simulate creating like a classical painting in Photoshop. That's why I'm not using any advanced Photoshop techniques, just the basic brush with opacity, because it's the same. If you're creating an oil painting, you can also use glazes, but you don't have color dodge or color burn there, or desaturate or any kind of those tools. So you have to keep things really basic. So the whole beard and everything is coming together, I think, pretty okay. I see some mistakes, but yeah, if I would do it again, I would maybe correct something a bit more. Yeah, so now that I think that his right eye is a bit better than it was, but it's still not exactly there. And you can see that I'm really trying to define, to use as little brush strokes as possible to define shapes, especially in the face, because that's the way that Rembrandt, for example, used to work, and the old Dutch masters. And I really like that style of working on the painting. So yeah, that's it. I think we're coming to an end of this painting. Oh yeah, this is the part where I correct the eye a bit, and I think that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, or I hope you, I don't know, enjoyed this process, or maybe you've learned something, or you have something that you can share that maybe can improve my process. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.